Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
We are here and we want to take a look at some of the stocks that were on the move this past week in our Stock Movers Podcast. And we got to talk about Coinbase. It was up about 27% this week. Looking at, for the week overall, the number one gainer in the S&P as a result. And I'm just looking at, there was a lot of data throughout the week for this one. We did get some headlines on Friday about Coinbase being cleared to offer crypto products across all EU states. So that basically enables the company to offer a full suite of products to all 27 EU member states. So we're talking about 450 million people across the EU. So that was a big deal. We also saw earlier in the week Coinbase introducing Coinbase payments for commerce platforms. So there's a lot going on in this space, especially when it comes to the regulatory environment. And we're seeing it, kind of a regulatory framework being worked out. And so Coinbase certainly seen as someone as, to benefit in a big way. And we certainly saw that play out in the share price this week.
Not the only mover in the crypto industry to the upside this week. You also were watching everything that happened with Circle, Carol.
Yeah, Circle Internet Group up 80% this past week, folks. Big mover to the upside. It's up about 675% since its IPO on June 5th. So we have seen this one just explode to the upside. It's the company behind USDC, the second largest stablecoin by market share. Its shares gaining in the Friday trade as well. So we just saw momentum throughout the week. Catalyst today, or on Friday, I should say, Seaport Global gave the stablecoin issuer its first buy rating in the wake of the U.S. Senate's move this week to pass some regulatory legislation, right? So this is certainly something that is seen as an upside catalyst. Legislation setting up regulatory rules for cryptocurrencies pegged to the dollar. So there's a lot of momentum, I feel like, in this space.
How is it that you always have the stocks that did well?
I don't know.
You had the gainers.
My sunny disposition.
Okay, your sunny disposition.
Where are you going?
I'm going to the other side of things. The worst performers in the S&P 500 this week were solar companies, Enphase Energy, First Solar, Enphase, the ticker for Enphase Energy is ENPH. First Solar, just pulling it up here, is FSLR. Mm-hmm. First Solar fell by 17.2%. Enphase Energy fell by 21.4%. Shares of U.S. solar companies fell sharply this week. This was after we learned that Senate Republicans released this bill that would essentially end clean energy tax credits earlier than expected. What that did was it dashed hopes that major cuts passed by the House would not stick. You had other companies move lower this week. Sunrun, which is the largest U.S. rooftop panel installer, plunged this week, the most ever in intraday trading. SolarEdge Technologies fell as well. And Enphase Energy, the worst performer in the S&P 500, down by 21.4%.
Got another one for us?
I got another one. Accenture. This is an interesting one because this is a IT consulting firm.
Yeah.
Huge global company. Shares fell this week. Not the worst performer in the S&P, but still among the worst performer. I'd say top 5 worst performing stock this week. Down 8.5%. The company reported results that highlighted bookings as a weak spot of the print. The company's CEO said Accenture, quote, continues to see a significantly elevated level of uncertainty in the global economic and geopolitical environment as compared to calendar year 2024. Bloomberg Intelligence came out and said that the 7% bookings decline lower headcount suggests soft discretionary IT spending demand. There were a lot of questions about the effect on government cuts, especially here in the U.S. Interestingly enough, the company said that, quote, federal business had an immaterial impact on its overall growth in the quarter. So it wasn't the federal, it was bookings moving forward.
Got it.
Is the concern that analysts have, not necessarily federal cuts. It's not like Booz Allen, which has such big exposure to the U.S. government.
So Accenture for the week overall?
Accenture for the week overall, ticker ACN. down 8.45%.
For the week overall.
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to go back to Coinbase Global because I didn't want to eat up all the time, but there was so much stuff on this name. As I mentioned, it was up about 27% this week. I forgot to mention it inked a deal to have the world's second biggest stablecoin, USDC, uses collateral in U.S. futures trading.
So there's a handshake between Circle Internet and Coinbase.
See, this is why we have the crypto dude in-house. And the other story, this was, I think, on June 17th, you had JP Morgan Chase launching a pilot for a token called JPMD, which represents dollar deposits and will transfer a fixed amount to Coinbase Global on the public blockchain base. So there's just so much stuff this past week. I highly recommend you head to the Bloomberg or Bloomberg.com to check it out.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.